It seems my sister Lily has also been reborn. In our previous life. Her love story with Ethan, the golden boy of the elite social circle, was all-consuming skipping classes, getting into fights, street racing, until she died for him in a storm. Yet she blamed me for everything. After a rebirth, she convinced our parents to transfer me to Ethan's failing class full of delinquents. Sis, now it's your turn to be bullied by him and experience that tumultuous romance. She sneered. I almost laughed. Being reborn doesn't magically grant intelligence. She could live 100 lifetimes and still remain unworthy as my rival. In our past life, my adoptive parents lured me home under the pretense of a family dinner only to beat me to death. Their twisted faces loomed over me during my final moments. We only kept you around for Lily's sake. Now that she's gone, what use are you? The baseball bat smashed into my skull, blood obscuring my vision. My eyes snapped open in the darkness. Sunlight streamed through familiar curtains as I processed the scene: adoptive mother and Lily sitting across from me. Lily, what's this about transferring classes? Mother fretted. Your teacher called saying you want to move to that worst-performing 13th class? Lily blinked slowly, fingers curling as realization dawned. Her gaze landed on me like a predator's. Oh, there's been a mistake. I meant to say we should transfer my sister. With all those troubled kids in class 13, wouldn't Big Sis love the chance to play hero? Last lifetime, Lily had fallen obsessively for Ethan at first sight, throwing tantrums until they transferred her to his failing class. Their 7-year toxic relationship ended with her drunkenly crashing his sports car during a thunderstorm. Though I'd barely interacted with Ethan beyond graduation events, Lily remained convinced he secretly pined for me. Now her venomous glare confirmed it. She remembered everything. Lily's right. Mother decided without consulting me. I'll handle the transfer paperwork today. I clenched my jaw. The Smiths only adopted me out of obligation to my late father, treating me as Lily's personal attendant rather than a daughter. Last time, Lily refused to let me join her class transfer, gloating later. Did you think I didn't know Ethan skipped school to watch your violin competition? I'll never give you chances to steal him, this time. Her rebirth plan was transparent: throw me into Ethan's chaotic world, hoping I'd suffer the abuse and twisted romance she endured. Little did she know, I'd been reborn too, and unlike her, I actually learned from past mistakes. The classroom door slammed open on my first day in class 13. Ethan lounged at the back, surrounded by his lackeys, his piercing gaze locked onto mine, a smirk playing on his lips. Let the games begin. I stared at her foolish expression without speaking. Ethan coming to watch my violin competition? What a joke. He probably didn't even know how many strings of violin I deliberately spread that rumor through back channels to keep Lily from dragging me down, but now she'd been reborn. Maybe changing tactics to play her game wouldn't be so bad. That night, Lily slipped into my bedroom soundlessly. I in this house, my door couldn't be locked. Privacy wasn't permitted for someone like me. She stood by my bed, her venomous gaze crawling over me inch by inch before suddenly laughing. Sister, it's your turn now to be bullied by him and suffer through that toxic love story. She must have tipped someone off beforehand. The next morning when I walked into classroom 13 with my backpack, a textbook came flying at my face. I tilted my head slightly, dodging it. Who said you could move? Ethan's lazy drawl came from the front. He lounged in his chair with legs propped on the desk, staring down his nose at me. Fine, I'll give you one chance. Pick it up and hand it to me properly so I can try again. Do that. And I'll leave you alone this morning. My eyelashes fluttered as I bent to retrieve the book. I walked slowly toward him, past his cronies sneering with open malice. Like this? I asked sweetly, before slamming the hard spine directly into his nose. Ah! Ethan leaped up, clutching his bleeding nose, then grinned coldly. You bitch. You're dead meat. His friends closed in, but the teacher entered just then. This is our new transfer student, Lu Swayan, second in the entrance exams. I expect everyone to get along and follow her example. Ooh. Teacher's pet. Ethan sneered, still pinching his nose. Don't worry. We'll get along just fine. His bullying tactics were straight from cheap novels: thumbtacks on chairs, dead rodents in my desk. I pulled out the tacks, scooped up the carcasses and dumped them in his lap instead, watching him turn green. When that failed, he resorted to raw violence. After school that day, I found a note tucked in my math workbook. "They're taking you to the equipment room." I stared at the crumpled paper before tossing it. Who warned me? Last life. I'd heard classroom 13 was full of delinquents. But since transferring, I'd noticed the class divided into two factions. Except for Ethan and his gang of entitled bullies. Most of the remaining students came from impoverished backgrounds or faced various hardships. Their survival and academic spaces had been squeezed to near nothingness by the campus prince and his lackeys. My gaze swept across the sparsely populated classroom. Finally, Sophia, sitting diagonally behind Ethan, averted her eyes nervously. Understanding flashed through me. Feigning ignorance, I slung my backpack over my shoulder. "Hey, Lily," she stammered after prolonged hesitation. "We'll walk home with you after school." She and several nearby girls met my eyes with tremulous courage. I studied their fearful yet resolute expressions before suddenly grinning. "Don't get involved." The moment I stepped into the corridor, Ethan's cronies shoved me into the equipment room at the sports field's edge. There, I encountered an agonizingly familiar face. Lily stood shoulder to shoulder with Ethan. Who jerked his chin at me? This the leech who's been exploiting your family's kindness? MHM. Lily's response held frosty indifference. But you shouldn't bully her. I refused to sink to her level. Her performance of principled nobility contrasted starkly with the tearful girl who'd begged Ethan not to break up with her in our previous lives. Reborn. She'd finally learned this bastard only craved what he couldn't have. As predicted, Ethan's expression softened with protective tenderness. Lily drew a dramatic breath, adding, "Besides, my sister's dedicated years to violin. Her hands are her most precious. The more valuable something is," Ethan interrupted with a cruel smirk, "the more satisfying its destruction." He gestured to the thugs restraining me. "Break her fingers. Every single one. I want her never touching a violin again." Malicious triumph flooded Lily's eyes as they forced me against the uneven bars. Raising a cast iron dumbbell. "Idiots." I spat. Ethan whirled. "What did you say?" "If I were you," I taunted, "I wouldn't cause school scandals during the Johnson family's stock allocation negotiations." His pupils contracted. 3, 2, 1. The door burst open, but instead of my arranged rescuers, several girls stood trembling in the doorway. Sophia leaned on her friend's shoulder, clutching a battered flip phone like a lifeline. "We recorded everything," she declared, voice quaking with resolve. "I've already called the police." The deathly silence lasted mere seconds before Ethan burst into laughter. "You're Sophia, right? Seems the last lesson wasn't enough. Still playing hero?" His icy gaze swept over her. "Call the cops? Don't you know who I am? You think they can touch me?" The tension shattered as a commanding female voice cut through the air. "If the police can't handle you, perhaps I should?" Grace strode in, her navy silk dress whispering against stiletto heels. "Ethan, did I not warn you about causing trouble during this critical family period?" All arrogance drained from Ethan's face. Grace. Crossing her arms. The Johnson heiress regarded him coldly. "Release them. We're leaving." When Ethan protested, but she started, Grace cut him off. "Timing and methods matter. My intervention today doesn't mean permanent protection." Truth was, I'd orchestrated Grace's arrival through anonymous letters. Since old Mr. Johnson's death last month, the family's power struggle had turned vicious. Any scandal could shift the balance. Grace wouldn't let her brother jeopardize her ambitions, yet resented being manipulated. Her departing glance raked over me like I was gutter trash, a silent promise that once the Johnson turmoil settled, Ethan would come for me. I met her gaze. Lips shaping, "Next time." Lily watched this exchange. Sudden understanding dawning. "So you're back too?" She sneered. "But what's the use? I'm Ethan's first love now. You're just the punching bag." Her laugh echoed as she flounced out. Let's see who saves you after the Johnsons regroup. In the abandoned equipment room, Sophia clutched her cracked flip phone. If you're fine, we'll wait. I stopped them. The midterm papers came back today. Any questions? Their stunned silence spoke volumes. Not just you. I continued. Anyone in class 13 can ask me. Shouldn't we unite to improve together? In this era, true rags to riches success stories are rare. Most like these girls poor. Average students exhaust themselves surviving, enduring bullies like Ethan. But why should we? I challenged. In the dimming light, their eyes kindled with awakening fire. The spark of hope glowed like starlight in the darkness. I looked at them and declared, this world belongs to ordinary people like us. The next day, Ethan didn't come to school. I knew the Johnson family's internal power struggle had reached its peak. He couldn't spare time for trivial matters like classes. Naturally, I took over supervising Class 13's study sessions. The time slots Ethan used to dominate with his gang, disrupting everyone's studies with his petty tyranny, became my personal tutoring hours. Across lifetimes, I'd always poured relentless effort into academics. Burning midnight oil, I compiled key problem sets, printed handouts, and distributed them to everyone. They tackled practice questions like their lives depended on it, compiling lists of challenging problems for me to solve collectively each morning. During this period, Ethan's useless lackeys tried causing trouble again. They splashed paint on my whiteboard, sneering, "Don't think you can run wild just because Ethan's gone. Your reckoning comes when he returns." At my signal, Sophia's desk partner Emily quietly locked both classroom doors. The entire class rose as one, advancing on the troublemakers. "You clearly don't understand the new reality," I said, smashing my water bottle across the lead bully's face. "Your doom might arrive sooner than mine." When monthly exam results came out, the entire grade erupted. Class 13 perpetually last place now ranked 3rd overall. 2 of our students cracked the top 10. School administrators swarmed our classroom demanding explanations. Sophia answered. Our class representative Anna has been tutoring everyone after school. Anna? The Smith family's adopted daughter? Wasn't she originally 2nd in entrance exams? She's now ranked 1st. Who assigned her to class 13? The day the Johnson family's civil war ended coincided with Ethan's return. He intercepted me at the school gate's shadowy alleyway, kicking over a trash can with a vicious grin. "Anna, didn't I promise you'd regret surviving until my return?" Lily stood nearby, offering token protest, "Don't go too far. This could backfire." "Relax." Ethan sneered. "My sister Grace won't save her this time." His previously beaten lackeys closed in. Top of the class. Huh? How tragic when those piano-playing problem-solving hands get smashed. They grabbed my wrists to grind against rough brick walls just as administrators arrived with Sophia. "Stop!" The principal's shout made thugs freeze. "What's happening during school hours?" I spoke first. They threatened to break my hands. "Sir." In the large conference room of the Academic Affairs building, Ethan and his entourage lounged carelessly, radiating arrogance. The principal cleared his throat. "We've fully investigated this incident. While Ethan's actions were improper, fortunately no serious consequences occurred since we intervened promptly. Let's all move forward from this." His placating tone couldn't be more obvious. I smiled faintly. "In that case, I believe it's reasonable to request a formal apology from Ethan." "Apologize to you?" Ethan scoffed from the sidelines as if hearing the world's greatest joke. "You're not worth my time." "I have surveillance footage," I countered, meeting his glare unflinchingly. "Shall we involve the police then?" The standoff crackled between us, the entitled golden boy from old money versus the scholarship student who'd clawed her way to the top while dragging an entire class up the rankings. Any public scandal would tarnish the school's reputation. Trapped between powerful families, The principal sent teachers to negotiate with me privately. Miss Smith. The teacher began awkwardly. We acknowledge the administration failed you previously. As compensation, you'll receive this year's top scholarship. We'll also implement stricter oversight to ensure Class 13 students face no further harassment. My laughter rang hollow. So the administration finally admits how Class 13 has suffered all along? The teacher flushed crimson under my gaze. But since you're being so accommodating, I accept. However, I want those funds redistributed as academic achievement awards for every Class 13 student who showed significant improvement this term. My smile turned razor sharp. Except Ethan and his lackeys. Of course. The administration moved swiftly. When scholarship notices arrived in Class 13, reactions varied. Sophia's eyes glistened with unshed tears. You should have made him apologize. If we'd arrived later. Your hand. I timed everything precisely school hours. Honor roll postings. I shrugged. Besides, pampered brats fear nothing more than someone willing to burn everything down. Emily silently offered her award letter. I pushed it back. Keep it. I earn more coding projects for college students. Seeing their conflicted expressions, I added firmly. Empty apologies mean nothing without genuine remorse. Tangible gains matter more. With 6 months until college entrance exams, these funds would let my classmates focus on studying instead of part-time jobs. In my fragmented memories of the previous life, barely anyone from Class 13 had made it to decent colleges. Their futures sacrificed as background characters in Ethan and Lily's dramatic romance. 2 girls had even been hospitalized after crossing the wrong person, missing their exams entirely. Perhaps my second chance wasn't just about surviving but rewriting fates. The quiet question hung in the air, won't this make Ethan hate you more? Emily Davis clutched the bank card. Silent for a moment. And your sister? She said worriedly. She's clearly been involved in all these major incidents lately, I know. They won't let this go. I smiled, ruffling her messy short hair. But I'll handle everything. You just focus on studying. Moonlight spilled silver across the room as I jolted awake. Phantom pain from shattered skull bones lingering. Staring at the crescent outside, I murmured, no next time. After the school intervened, Ethan stopped openly bullying classmates. Yet he grew closer to Lily. This lifetime, Lily had perfected her act, thoroughly wrapping the Johnson heir around her finger. Whatever lies she whispered made Ethan's gaze turn venomous whenever our paths crossed. College entrance exam morning arrived. Due to residency registration, Lily and I tested at different locations. At dawn, she'd already begun theatrics. It's my first major exam. I need both mom and dad with me. Sipping milk with feigned innocence. She added, Sister's testing center isn't far anyway. She's always been so independent. Sunrise gilded the clouds as I left. Turning down a deserted alley, shadows suddenly swallowed the light. An engine roared. Screeching tires echoed as crimson convertible blocked my path. The driver's door swung open. Ethan emerged. Brass knuckles glinting. 3 hulking figures materialized behind him, Johnson family bodyguards I recognized from last semester's disciplinary committee. Going somewhere. Scholarship rat? He cracked his neck. Let's discuss your recent meddling. I stepped back, fingers brushing the panic button on my phone. The device buzzed, Emily's pre-programmed alert. Police would arrive in 8 minutes. Ethan lunged. Metal met flesh as I ducked. His fist smashed into the brick wall behind me. Howling curses. He shook bleeding knuckles. You'll pay for humiliating Grace. Ah. So this was about Grace's failed attempt to sabotage my research team last month. The Johnsons really were thorough with their grudges. Footsteps pounded as security closed in. I pivoted, slamming my textbook into the nearest attacker's nose. Calculus never felt more practical. 6 minutes remaining. Ethan swung again. This time, the brass knuckles grazed my temple. Warmth trickled down my cheek. Through ringing ears, I heard his sneer, "Let's see how your precious lab takes a broken prodigy." 3 minutes. Something cold pressed against my neck, switchblade. The bodyguard's breath reeked of nicotine. Boss said no permanent marks. Shame. Sirens wailed in the distance. Ethan froze. "You called the cops?" 911 response time averages 7 minutes downtown. I wiped blood from my eye. "You're slipping. Ethan used to be faster." His punch came too late. Red blue lights flooded the alley as 3 cruisers screeched to halt. Officers swarmed. Tasers drawn. Later, at the precinct, Detective Martinez reviewed security footage. 3rd assault complaint this semester against Ethan. Judge will revoke his bail this time. I pressed the ice pack to my swelling cheek. He'll post bond by morning. Not with that. She tapped the screen, freeze frame of Ethan wielding brass knuckles. Parole violation. Weapon enhancement charge. He's looking at 6 months minimum. Sunset painted the interrogation room orange when Mom burst in, Smith family matriarch. Perfectly coiffed despite supposed distress. "Darling. Thank heavens you're safe." Her perfume choked the air as she embraced me. "We'll sue the Johnsons into oblivion." I extracted myself. "Your daughter Lily orchestrated this." Her smile didn't waver. Now. Siblings quarrel sometimes. Let's not involve the press." Detective Martinez cleared her throat. "Ms. Smith. We'll need Lily's statement regarding her communications with Ethan." "Of course. We're law-abiding citizens." Mom's manicured nails dug into my arm. "But surely this misunderstanding can remain private? For the family's reputation." I met her gaze. "The district attorney already has the evidence file." Her mask slipped, brief. Terrifying rage. Then she laughed. Light and brittle. "You always were dramatic, dear. Let's discuss this at home." The squad room doors burst open again. Reporters swarmed. Cameras flashing. "Ms. Smith. Rumor says you're testifying against the Johnsons. Any comment?" Mom's grip turned vice-like. I smiled for the lenses. "Justice prevails," I said, blood drying on my collar. Eventually, Ethan stepped out of the car with his lackey, grinning at me. "3rd time. Still caught you. You've been blackmailing and tormenting Lily all these years with your twisted sense of debt." I adjusted my backpack straps, staring coldly. "Did you really think you'd get to waltz into that exam hall today?" "Ethan," I said evenly, "it's your college entrance exam day too." He threw back his head laughing. "Exams? You still believe in that pathetic fairy tale about changing your destiny? I was born so far above your reach that your entire life struggle is my starting line. I could skip this circus and still get into any Ivy League school. Did you really think we're playing the same game? Since you're so good at scheming." He sneered, circling me. "Why don't you show me what tricks you've got left?" "Oh wait," his smile turned vicious. "All your little friends already left for the testing center. Nobody's coming to save you this time." The kick came without warning. White-hot pain exploded in my abdomen as I crashed onto the pavement. My vision swam as I clawed at the brick wall, struggling to rise. He loomed over me, dress shoes scraping concrete. "I'm done tolerating your defiance. You gutter rat. Know your place, you exist to kneel. Who gave you permission to bite your master?" This time, he bent down, fingers curling like talons. "I'll break every bone in your hands myself." I moved faster, grabbing his perfectly styled hair. I smashed his face into the wall with all my strength. The scream was glorious. His crony lunged, slamming my left shoulder against the bricks. The crack echoed through the alley. I bit back a cry, mentally cataloging the damage. Not enough. Dragging my forearm across the rough surface, I tore through skin until blood sheeted down. Ethan staggered up, nose bleeding and eyes wild. "Are you insane?" he shrieked as I calmly smeared crimson streaks across my torn dress. 3 years. I panted through the pain, watching sunlight finally breach the alley. 3 years you've played tyrant instead of studying. Let me teach you what your tutors failed to. I stepped into the light, blood pooling at my feet. When the oppressed strike back, blood stains the earth, and the world wears mourning clothes. The click of camera shutters froze him mid-snarl. Reporters emerged from both ends of the alley, lenses capturing every detail, the disabled security camera, my bloodied sundress, the raw meat of my arm, the perfect tear tracking down my cheek. "What's the meaning of this?" Ethan's voice cracked. "I'm handling family business." He tried blustering, but the cameras were already live-streaming. "The Johnson family will what?" I whispered loud enough for every microphone. "Break more bones? Hide more bodies?" My laughter mixed with tears as sirens wailed in the distance. "You were born on top, Ethan. But gravity always wins." The blood kept dripping, each red splatter punctuating his crumbling empire. "If you want to stay in this profession, get the hell away from here." At his words, the 2 journalists closed their cameras. Ethan thought his threat had worked, giving me a cold smirk. But the next second, they stepped closer. "Young master, there are always people who aren't afraid of you in this world." The female journalist carefully avoided my injured left arm, grabbing my other hand. "Move." I jumped into the reporter's prearranged car that sped through streets with Ethan's scarlet sports car hot on our tail. We screeched to a halt outside exam grounds swarming with anxious parents and media crews. The moment I stumbled out bleeding from the vehicle, every head turned. "Ethan Johnson." I spat at the approaching sports car, enunciating each syllable, even as the so-called prince of the East Coast elite. "What gives you the right to stop me from taking this test? Break my arm? Fine. Even if I'm bleeding out, I'll crawl into that exam hall." Unless, I tilted my chin at the 2 police cruisers speeding toward us, bloodstained skirt whipping like a battle standard in the June wind. "You want to murder me here." He slammed his car door, fury and panic warring in his eyes. Through his dilated pupils, I saw my reflection disheveled, battered, yet burning with defiance. When the proctor stamped my admission ticket, sweat soaked through my bandages in the non-air-conditioned hall. The pain sharpened my focus. After day 1 exams, Sophia accompanied me to the ER. My timid friend didn't cry this time. "Will it scar?" The tweezers plucked gravel from my flesh. "Maybe. Just surface wounds though." I smiled through gritted teeth. Had to make it dramatic enough for headlines. Our precious young master needs proper motivation. That night, I crashed at a motel near exam grounds. Neither in this life nor my previous one had standardized tests challenged me. My real advantage lay in retained memories of cutting-edge research and hard-won knowledge treasures no amount of rebirth could grant someone like Lily. Still obsessed with romantic entanglements. When final exams ended, I checked into the hospital properly. Scrolling through trending topics, I found exactly what I'd planted. Hashtag 3-time valedictorian nearly misses SAT. Hashtag Ethan Johnson abuse of power. Hashtag East Coast elite tyranny. The 4-drip clicked steadily as I drafted emails to the New York Times and Washington Post, attaching security footage of a Johnson Airs red sports car chasing down a bleeding scholarship student. My bandaged fingers flew across the keyboard. This battle was just beginning. The moment I stood outside the exam hall covered in blood confronting Ethan was trending at #1 nationwide. Oh my God. She still came to take the college entrance exam in that condition. She's the top student in our grade who's endured Ethan's bullying for years. If she missed this, 3 years of effort would have been wasted. Someone investigate the Johnson family. Are they above the law? I locked my phone screen, observing 2 visitors by my hospital bed. Sophia continued peeling an apple with surgical precision while Emily sat across from me. Everyone wanted to visit but didn't want to disturb your recovery. We're the delegation. Just minor injuries. I'll be discharged tomorrow. I shifted my plaster-casted shoulder and left arm, grinning. How'd the exam go? Think you'll dethrone me? Why would I want that? Emily's gaze held mine. How were you certain those journalists would help? Her question didn't surprise me. Emily had always been the most observant in our class despite her quiet nature, though dozens of reporters and parents witnessed Ethan's car chasing mine to the exam site. Few dared report it. Risked angering the Johnsons for some bloodied girl who might not even finish her test papers, but those two rookie journalists were different, because courageous people stay courageous, righteousness persists through generations. In my previous life, two young female journalists had exposed a professor's decade-long academic fraud involving millions in embezzled funds. Their names were Nina Foster and Annie Lewis. This time, when I contacted them during their internship phase, both initially questioned my methods. If you anticipated his attack, why not avoid danger? Nina's voice crackled through the phone. Because escaping one solves nothing. I twirled my butterfly knife, its blade catching the light. How many victims has he left in our school alone, in other classes, other cities? If we're doing this, we make it earth-shattering. The media storm raged for weeks, peaking when college acceptance letters arrived. My SAT score shattered records, surpassing even my previous life's achievement by 200 points. Suddenly, my value skyrocketed enough that the Johnsons had to send their crown princess for negotiations. My adoptive parents' calls grew increasingly frantic, demanding my return to the Smith residence. When I entered the parlor and saw Grace, laughter bubbled from my throat. Miss Grace, I told you we'd meet again. Her elegant features contorted before smoothing into aristocratic composure. Lily, state your terms. Terms? I blinked innocently. My adoptive father slammed the table. Stop playing dumb. Take the deal and quit while you're ahead. Behind his outburst lay obvious collusion between our families. My adoptive mother's glare could frost glass. We raised you since you were 10. This is how you repay our kindness. Kindness? The word tasted rancid on my tongue. My laughter echoed through the marble foyer. You adopted me because my father, a distant relative of the Smith family, died saving you all. You only brought me back from the orphanage to avoid the Johnson family being labeled as ungrateful. Does trading one life for 8 years of servitude in your household suddenly make me the indebted one? I lost patience. Rising from the couch, I packed my documents in the bedroom and slung my violin case over my shoulder. Grace remained seated when I left, her gaze burning with undisguised loathing, that particular malice reserved by the privileged for those beneath them daring to challenge their authority. I smiled. You knew I wouldn't accept your settlement offer when you came here today. Didn't you, Miss Johnson? I merely wanted to confirm if you'd be as foolish as I anticipated. She stood, towering over me in her stilettos with imperious intensity. Her eyes raked down coldly. Seems I was right. All that talk about righteous anger, her lips curled in glacial mockery. Surely even you don't believe such childish theatrics matter. Let's see how well you withstand the consequences of crossing the Johnsons. The scandal eventually died down after the Johnson family paid exorbitant sums to manipulate public opinion. Ethan was shipped off to study abroad to weather the storm. Meanwhile, my entire class 13 returned to school to claim our hard-earned honors. That year's college entrance exams saw every student from the formerly worst-performing class clear the undergraduate threshold. Emily scored 692 points, securing admission to the elite university adjacent to mine. The principal, flushed with excitement, pumped my hand vigorously. We're awarding you a substantial scholarship. I smiled. I trust you've heard about the incident outside the exam venue? His grin froze. Rather than scholarships, I'd prefer institutional integrity. Ensure no more Ethans emerge from these halls, treating lives as disposable. He stammered vague assurances. I knew better. After our protest during exams, education authorities had already launched investigations into long-standing bullying cases. For years to come, this school would maintain stricter oversight. On my way out, I collided with Lily. Her hatred burned fiercer than in our previous lifetime. How dare you? She seethed, eyes drilling into me. You think rebirth makes you invincible? Cross the Johnsons, and you'll disappear without a trace someday. That's my concern, not yours. My smile didn't reach my eyes. Unless you'd like to test firsthand what price the Johnsons will pay for trying to eliminate me. In September, I entered Tsinghua University's School of Optical Engineering. Residual public attention from the scandal became my shield, under the spotlight. The Johnsons couldn't touch me. This visibility also helped me swiftly reconnect with my former mentor. Professor Tan, I'd like you as my advisor for the World University Hardware Programming Competition. The bespectacled woman studied me before softening. You're the student who stood up to the Johnsons. After decisively winning the gold medal, I privately handed her research breakthroughs in chip technology years ahead of schedule during an empty office hour. This project remains classified. Her sharp gaze scrutinized me. Yet here you are, a freshman, holding its blueprints. Lily, I need an explanation. You could say I'm naturally gifted. Or maybe I didn't drink the forget my past life potion during reincarnation. I smiled. I know your suspicions. Feel free to verify every experiment result and background check I submitted. I simply want to contribute. In this era of rapid technological advancement, the value of leapfrogging years of research to lead in critical fields, you understand this better than anyone. True to her meticulous nature, Mrs. Smith did investigate. I waited patiently. A week later, she summoned me to her brownstone. Her first question echoed what Emily had asked in the hospital years prior. How did you know those journalists would help you? But with sharper insight. You didn't contact others, went straight to them. No trial runs meant absolute certainty in their actions from the start. You didn't even bother tracking down their contact info through normal channels. Earlier, you'd mailed an anonymous letter to the Johnson family too. In the curtain-drawn stillness, I held her gaze. My mother died when I was young. Then my father. The Smiths took me in. But I never understood familial warmth until meeting my mentor in my previous life. I remembered working 3 straight days on a journal paper. Red-eyed and exhausted. At a lab dinner, chopsticks tapped my head, daydreaming over dumplings? People will think I slave drive my students. She'd pinched my cheek. Smile more. Kiddo. You're gloomier than this old lady. Now. Across generations. Mrs. Smith studied me. Between research, she finally said, I sometimes read novels, time travel, rebirth plots. Wild but entertaining. I blinked. Really? I don't read much fiction. Your submissions will undergo peer review immediately. Once validated, we'll fast-track the R&D through proper channels. She leaned forward. After finishing core courses, you'll join my lab early. Any other needs? My eyes lit up. Clasping her hands, I said earnestly, Professor. Actually, yes. With her connections, I licensed several AI algorithms I'd developed, amassing both capital and industry contacts. An exclusive tech gala invitation arrived. I went seeking investors, but froze upon seeing Lily, resplendent in snow-white cocktail dress and pearls, shadowing Grace through adoring crowds. Last life. The Johnsons had rejected her as no-money upstart. Now she moved through their world effortlessly. Smirking, I handed my card to a venture capitalist, Sophia. Lily's voice pierced the champagne chatter. Lily, I turned around to find Grace had left Ethan's side and approached me alone. She raised her champagne flute with feigned innocence. Sisters shouldn't hold grudges. Instead of peddling your little projects for cash, why not ask me for help? What would I need from you? Her laughter rang out, sharp and triumphant. I'm officially the Johnson family's chosen fiancé for Ethan now. Use your imagination. Malicious glee glittered in her eyes as she spoke. This was her victory lap this lifetime. She'd finally secured the family's approval. The sheer stupidity made me walk away without another word. Her shrill voice chased me down the corridor. How long do you think your luck will last? That college scandal blew over years ago. When Ethan returns from overseas, Lily, I'll be front row watching your downfall. 3 years after the college entrance exam controversy, I next saw Ethan at an industry expo with Emily. Sunlight filtered through the glass-domed exhibition hall as we passed robotic displays. Sophia called this morning, Emily said, adjusting her conference badge. She got the internship, all of us. We wouldn't have made college cutoff scores without your crash courses. Now you're networking us into dream jobs. Her voice faltered as I calibrated a robotic arm's pressure sensors. Sometimes this feels surreal. Last night I dreamed. Her fingers tightened on the control tablet. I end the dream. It wasn't you transferring to our class. IT was your sister. When Ethan bullied her, she fell for him. Then before exams, their fight escalated. Emily and I happened to walk by when I closed the maintenance panel with a decisive click. Test the grip now. The robotic arm whirred to life, typing flawless code sequences under Emily's command. That's why it's called a nightmare. This? I gestured at the bustling convention center. This is reality. And those job referrals aren't charity. I expect you all to earn your keep. Consider it transactional fairness, not debt. The words left her lips like a foreign phrase. Emily, ever the engineer, understood equations better than emotions. We almost made it to the quantum computing booth before that voice froze my steps. Lily. Ethan leaned against a holographic display. 3 years older and infinitely more dangerous. His smile held the edge of a scalpel. Long time. Ethan. I matched his tone. 3 years and you're not dead in some back alley shootout? How disappointing. The air between us crackled. His hand twitched near his jacket lapel. Old habits from living in open carry states. You're lucky we're on home soil. Overseas. I could have shot you for less. The industrial robot arm chose that moment to swing backward, clanging against his designer shoes. Emily blinked innocently at her control screen. Apologies. Glitch in the new firmware. Watching Ethan, heir to the Johnson Aerospace empire, hopping on one foot while swearing at machinery? Priceless. Some things never change. Rich boys always melt down when technology bites back. The retaliation came swiftly. That afternoon, an anonymous report accused my advisor and me of academic fraud. The reasoning? How could an undergraduate possibly design such advanced chips and publish 3 papers in top-tier journals? Old rumors about the college entrance exam incident resurfaced. But this time public opinion shifted. Critics claimed I'd fabricated the entire story for clout. She still got to take the exam and became national top scorer? Sounds fishy. If she really crossed the Johnsons, how's she still thriving? That hardware design gold medal freshman year? Suspicious. Her advisor's definitely in on this too. The Johnsons excelled at manipulating narratives. 3 years ago, they'd underestimated me. Now they aimed to destroy my career permanently. Our research projects froze. The university suspended us both pending investigation. Standard procedure when high-profile allegations surface. My advisor reassured as administrators escorted her away. Truth always surfaces. I asked quietly, "Do you still believe in me?" She met my gaze in the amber sunset. When you stretch timelines until every pivotal moment becomes magnified, you see fascinating patterns. Like chess. I tapped my chin. Each move serves multiple purposes across decades. Not just immediate gains. For 2 weeks, I let the storm rage. I even leaked fabricated vulnerabilities, baiting the Johnsons to attack harder. Lily emerged tearfully on national television, claiming I'd abused our sibling relationship despite the Smith family's adoption. When public outrage peaked, I called a live-streamed press conference with reporters Nina Sue and Annie Liu. I presented high school records of tutoring college engineering projects, TW2108 chip development documentation, all research drafts and experimental data, security footage from exam day. The video zoomed showed sabotage surveillance cameras, my blood-stained white dress, raw flesh exposed on my arm. Ethan snarling, "This is Johnson family business. Walk away if you value your careers." Darkness swallowed the screen. I faced the cameras. The Johnsons want me erased like all their other victims. But I refuse. Why should bullies escape consequences? Why let lies become truth? This world belongs to the people, not your family empire. The truth always comes to light. Today, I'm publicly exposing the Johnson family for murder, unethical business practices, and market monopolization. The screen displayed contracts bearing the Johnson family's corporate seals and clandestine photos of their extravagant gatherings. Every face shown wielded power and wealth, all smiling alongside Ethan and Grace. Surveillance footage even captured Ethan meeting associates during his 3-year study abroad period. The live stream cut abruptly. But I knew the evidence would spread like wildfire. Sophia and Emily sat with me under studio lights that warmed our faces. Rubbing my cheeks, I grinned. I told you avoiding him once wasn't enough. The Johnsons' internal power struggle had never been about mere stock shares. When their empire teetered, Grace personally intervened to stop Ethan's recklessness after the equipment room incident. She took him to a penthouse suite at an exclusive club, brokering deals that secured their dynasty's survival. After the college entrance exam scandal erupted, Grace shipped Ethan overseas, conveniently positioning him to strengthen international alliances. His recent return coincided with their final move to seize our research project and install their puppet team. When I asked my advisor for trust, she demanded, "What do you need?" Decades of lived experience helped me plant moles. I sold software to Johnson-affiliated companies, securing internships where my classmates photographed client meetings. Knowing outcomes made tracing evidence easier, expense reports, undestroyed documents, security camera ghosts. The Johnsons tried silencing critics as before, but this fire they'd stoked themselves. On the drizzly afternoon their empire fell. Federal agents took Ethan and Grace in for questioning. The Smith family, their marriage-allied partners, collapsed with them. My adoptive parents sacrificed everything to protect Lily, the daughter they'd murdered me for in another life. Now Lily lunged at me outside the research institute, splashing into rainwater. "Why?" she screamed. "In our past life, you did nothing and became his cherished first love. This time I became his everything. Why destroy him?" "Lily Smith. You bitch. Why couldn't it be you who died?" A loud slap echoed as I struck her across the face. Tossing aside my umbrella, I gripped her jaw in the pouring rain. "Because the one who deserves death was never me. Did I destroy the Smith family? They committed arson, treason, and sold state secrets. They dug their own grave. Crown Prince of the capital's elite? That feudal relic should rot in hell along with his backward ideologies. Lily, can't you see? You're too stupid and narrow-minded to understand. Do you realize what someone could achieve with foresight from reliving their life? Save an entire class's future. Accelerate our nation's core technological development by 5 years. Uproot cancerous organizations years earlier to prevent catastrophic losses. To put it dramatically, change the entire world. Yet all you care about is becoming some man's first love obsession. Pathetic." She sat drenched in rainwater, staring up at me with vacant eyes. The downpour intensified, blurring our surroundings into watery smears. Suddenly, Lily began wailing like a wounded animal. After the Johnson siblings received death sentences, Ethan managed to organize a prison break during transport. Police chased them to the docks where Ethan took 20 bullets in the chest. His sister Grace got life without parole. The Smiths' adoptive parents drew 20-year sentences. When news broke, Lily swallowed a bottle of pills. Maybe she thought death offered another rebirth chance. Who knows? I shut my laptop and washed up at the lab sink. Through rain-streaked windows, I saw Sophia and Emily waving with our classmates from the Research Institute's gates. Dr. Carter, I need to leave early for group activities. Like I ever chain you to microscopes? My advisor snorted. Go enjoy your youth before it's gone. The elevator doors opened to reveal the sunlit lobby blazing with sunset hues. My friend's laughter spilled through the glass doors. Beyond them stretched a road bathed in golden light, bright, endless, and brimming with possibilities.